Ladies and gentlemen, today we have some absolutely breaking news regarding China and President Trump's tariffs. You see, President Trump has just pulled off a massive geopolitical power move, one that is currently isolating the Chinese Communist Party on the global economic stage. And so today, we're going to break all of it down. As things currently stand, over 75 countries around the world have either entered or initiated trade negotiations with the United States, all thanks to President Trump's unapologetic tariff strategy. It's not just diplomacy, really it's economic warfare, and President Trump is winning. What we're witnessing is a total restructuring of the global trade order, with the United States emerging as the undisputed leader, with China being left out in the cold. In fact, take a look at this. Breaking news. United States officials are planning to use negotiations with 70-plus nations to ask them to disallow China to ship goods through their countries. The U.S. is reportedly attempting to isolate China. This explains why President Trump said yesterday that countries may have to pick between the United States and China. The strategy appears to be a complete and total isolation of the CCP. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Trump's strategy is to leave China out in the cold. And really, all of this is happening because China has refused to negotiate about these tariffs in good faith. And now they're getting desperate because here's the truth. Their economy is built on one thing: exporting cheap, subsidized products to Western nations. And so now President Trump is building a global coalition to shut that down. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. Take a listen to what Stephen Miller had to say about all of this.
I believe that China will be forced very soon to come to the table for the simple reason that China's economy is completely dependent on its exports to the United States and to the West. China has built its entire industrial strategy since its entrance into the World Trade Organization on being able to sell highly subsidized, currency-manipulated, dumped goods into U.S. markets. It is an industrial strategy from China to product dump strategically to take out American steel, to take out American aluminum, to take out core American defense industries and defense needs, so that we're reliant on China. And what's happening here is that China is now discovering for the first time that they have met an American president who is not going to be intimidated, who's not going to be bullied, who's not going to be coerced, who's going to stand up for our essential security needs.
Yeah,
China needs us because of their export dependency on China.
It's going to be very interesting to.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the truth. In reality, China doesn't have the leverage here. The United States has the leverage. Their entire model of economic growth depends on exploiting global markets, and President Trump's strategy is cutting them off at the knees. And so now, with the 125% tariff slapped on all of Chinese exports, President Trump is protecting American workers, American industries, and American innovation from China's predatory pricing and state-subsidized dumping. So really, when you think about it, this is less of a trade war and more of a global economic correction. Finally, America is standing up to China and saying enough is enough. And you know, let's not forget why we're here in the first place. For decades, China has manipulated its currency, dumped cheap goods into American and European markets, they've stolen intellectual property, and they've watched as U.S. manufacturing has gotten gutted in the name of free trade. But really, as we now know, that term free trade is a bit of a misnomer. In actuality, it's been unfair trade and anti-American trade. Now, take a listen to what Stephen Miller had to say about why reversing all of this unfair anti-American trade is so important.
Why is it that we allow them to roll over America and undermine this great country every day?
And they've done it for decades. It is shameful that core elements of our industrial base, our medical base, our manufacturing base, our pharmaceutical base, our defense base, our electronic components, our chips, our critical minerals, that all of the things that power a country, we've allowed those supply chains to be centered in China, to give China the ability to exert that kind of control over the rest of the world through these illicit means? That's unthinkable. President Trump, history will record that the actions President Trump has taken in recent days were the beginning of saving the West from complete economic domination by another power.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the truth. You can't have a strong nation unless you make things in your own country. And so that is why President Trump is doing what every globalist politician before him was too scared or bought off to do. He's fighting back and he's putting America first. But okay, you know what else President Trump has recently done? He issued a 90-day pause on additional reciprocal tariffs for every single nation other than China. That's right. Every country is going to have a chance to negotiate with America in good faith, but China, well, because they've been so hostile, they get to remain on the outside, left out in the cold, buried under a mountain of trade tariffs. You either play fair or you don't play at all. Those are the rules that President Trump has imposed on China. And so here's the truth. This pause on reciprocal trade tariffs isn't a concession like the left-wing radical media has been saying. No, it's a reward to our allies for cooperation and not escalating the issue. And a warning shot to China as well. It tells the world, if you work with us, we will work with you. But if you try to cheat us and escalate with us, there's going to be a price to pay. And so while China's economy is reeling right now, they're absolutely in the gutter. The U.S. economy is standing strong. In fact, the stock market is already rebounding after the Trump tariff pause, showing investor confidence in Trump's ongoing economic plan. The markets have rebounded because investors across the world believe in President Trump's plan to finally put America first. Meanwhile, the folks over in Beijing are getting desperate. They've responded with retaliatory tariffs, but no one in America is flinching. Why? Because those countermeasures are nothing more than empty threats. We all know that without access to Western American markets, China doesn't have a leg to stand on, and that's not a guess, that is a fact. And then, get this, in response to China's escalatory retaliatory tariffs, the Trump administration is now working with allied nations to ban Chinese firms from operating inside of their borders. This is next level economic containment. From Africa to Europe to South America, the message President Trump is sending is loud and clear. The era of Chinese global economic manipulation has come to an end. And so you know what? This is what America First looks like in action. No more selling out American jobs, no more kissing the ring of globalist, communist institutions. We're not getting permission anymore. We here in America are setting the terms. And here's the reality. When these nations around the world are forced to choose between partnering with the United States or a continued dependence on China, it's not a hard decision. They are choosing Trump. They are choosing to work with America. They are choosing American strength over Chinese submission. Let's call this entire situation what it really is: a global economic realignment of power, and one that finally puts America back in charge. So folks, if you want to talk about leadership, this is what leadership looks like on a global scale. While the Democrats back at home can't even define what a woman is anymore, President Trump is out here rewriting the rules of global commerce, building an economic order that protects our American workers, protects our American families, and protects our American future. No more bowing to Beijing, no more begging to globalists for fair treatment, and you know what? No more outsourcing American prosperity. And ladies and gentlemen, here's the best part about all of this. As we can all see, President Trump's plan is working. The America First revolution is underway, and there is nothing that these radical far-left progressive globalists can do about it. Now, folks, before we wrap up with today's video, I want to say real quick that I've actually gone ahead and made a community Facebook page where I'll be posting additional news and updates as it relates to all of this. So, hey, if you guys use Facebook, check out the pinned comment down below and give that page a follow. But everyone, that is going to be a wrap for today's video. So please go down below and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this. Please like the video while you're down there. If you guys enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. Thank you all very much for tuning in today. And of course, as always, stay safe.